Members of the Tree of Life Synagogue in Squirrel Hill have endured unimaginable pain. An attack there killed 11 people and wounded 6 more.
I heard the gunfire getting louder, and I made the choice that'll haunt me the rest of my life, that I'd leave them.
People of the city of Pittsburgh have rallied around them, and while they have found support, many of them are still struggling to find healing. Some members of the Tree of Life recently went to South Carolina in search of that healing. They visited a church in Charleston, which was the site of another hate-filled massacre nearly 4 years ago.
Lynne Hayes-Freeland was invited on that journey, and in part 2 of her special report, she explains how the trip of healing brought emotions to the surface for both congregations.
Charleston, South Carolina is considered by some to be one of the most beautiful, peaceful cities in the United States. There's a lot of history here that goes back to the early 1800s, but there's recent history here too. Ugly history that connects Pittsburgh and Charleston together forever. These Pittsburghers, members of the New Light congregation in Squirrel Hill, are on a journey. 3 members of their congregation were killed in the hate-driven Tree of Life shooting last October. They've traveled to Charleston, South Carolina to spend time with members of the Emanuel AME Church, who lost 9 members of their own congregation in a hate-driven shooting in June of 2015.
I would like to also learn a little more about the healing that has taken place from 2015, which is when the tragedy occurred here, up until now.
Dr. Peg Durachko was the driving force behind the Pittsburgh-Charleston meetup. Her husband, Dr. Richard Gottfried, was killed in the October shooting. The highlight for some on this trip, like Carol Black, Gottfried's sister, is the Sunday morning worship service at the very church where 9 people died.
Get a chance to blend those 2 congregations and you know, we actually see where it happened. It's still kind of raw for us.
Reverend Eric Manning was not the pastor here when the shooting took place, but he has been a big part of the healing process. Emanuel welcomed the visitors from Pittsburgh, but also recognized their own healing is still a work in progress.
It brought back, from Mother Manuel's perspective, what we went through just about 4 years ago, and our road to recovery is still taking place. And you see yet another congregation who's just starting out. Our hearts go out to them because we know the road is long.
The contingent from Pittsburgh was welcomed at the beginning of the service.
Those from the New Light congregation in Pittsburgh, give them a hand.
The message on this Sunday dealt with forgiveness and trusting God. But it was this moment that touched these 2 congregations in a way that no one anticipated. The members of New Light congregation were invited to come to the front of the church and line the altar. Then the members of Emanuel AME congregation were invited to surround them there, both physically and in love.
I want you all to understand this congregation understands what you have gone through, what you're going through. You are not alone in this journey. We will be here. We will be there. All you need to do is just pick up the phone. Call us any hour of the night, any hour of the day.
As these 2 congregations, both victims of hatred, came together, they began to hug. They began to cry. And there was what seemed to be a release of pain and hurt that had been kept inside for a long time.
Being surrounded by all that love and support was so healing, so healing.
The outpouring of love was just totally amazing, and I feel like I accomplished what I came here to do, which is to hug the people in this church, and they were just awesome.
How's your heart feeling?
Well,
it's still broken. But I feel a camaraderie even closer with the people here now.
Yes.
And it was beautiful.
Wow, was that emotional? I mean,
It was. It was way more emotional than we anticipated. That
yeah,
day.
did you know this was going to come?
No. I don't even think that when I talked to the minister afterwards, I don't think he knew. In that moment, he decided to do it. And it did. It appeared to be cathartic for everyone in that building.
So not only for the Pittsburghers, but also for the people from the congregation in
The
South
people
Carolina.
from Emanuel cried just like the people from Pittsburgh did. As I said, it was like a release.
I'm going to guess, and you have probably no answer to this, but probably no other congregation could have touched the people from Pittsburgh as well and as to the heart as the people in Charleston could because of what they went through.
Because of what they went through. I said to John Shumway earlier today, you know, it's like when you have your kids and you say, well, I don't know how to do this. There isn't a manual. There's no manual for what the Tree of Life people were going through. But the people from Emanuel have gone through it.
Really touching story.
Indeed. Thanks.
All right. Thank you, Lynn.
All right, Lynn, thanks so much.
Thank you.